Hey guys, an anxious man here. Thank anxiety. It's Friday. Today is the 19th of April 2019. It's currently 12:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm sitting here puffing away on some delicious apple watermelon vape. It's delicious. Today's officially 5 weeks no cigarettes. So yes, let's. I know I can't hear you applaud. You don't have to applaud. It's all right. It's okay. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I said, as I've, wow, as I've said before, my goal is to beat the 3 month mark. And I'm getting closer there every day. I'm getting closer and closer and closer. 5 weeks. Next week will be six, and before I know, it'll be 2 months, and then 3 months, 3 months, and then once I get past 3 months, I'm not saying that I don't think I'm going to get past 3 months. I know I am. It's just it's like that mental number, that like it's like obviously it's my conscious goal, but it's almost like a subconscious thing. Like I've gotten to 3 months before, and around that time I usually buckle. Now I don't feel like anything's going to happen, but when you have anxiety, you understand that it's almost like when you think you're okay to go to a certain place or do a certain thing that's given you anxiety in the past, and just contemplating going there kind of gives you anxiety, but sometimes it won't. And then you get to the place or do the thing or whatever it might be, and you notice some like underlying anxiety. You might even have a panic attack. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. Um, yeah, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to not go back to cigarettes. I mean, will a cigarette sneak into my life here and there in the future? Even saying that makes me think like, am I preemptively giving myself the okay to break my streak? I think I'm a human, and it's okay. But I just don't want to smoke cigarettes, so I haven't been, and so far so good. Just wanted to open up with that. Now, today's episode, I want to talk about decluttering your life, decluttering my life, and how it absolutely had a nothing but a positive effect on my anxiety and my mental state and my physical state and just general feeling goodness. That's something. And basically, what I did was I've talked about it on the last couple episodes. This room that I'm sitting in is actually like a decent sized walk-in closet. And what was in here was I moved out of my house in like 2010, and during that period when I was living with a girlfriend at the time and eventually living by myself as relationships end, I stayed alone. This My parents renovated this part of the house, so this was just a little closet that I had because this was my old room in high school, and then they turned it to this bigger closet. And as you do when you have a house full of people, it just started accumulating things. I mean, obviously the goal was to like hang up clothes or whatever in here, but all my old stuff that I left here when I moved out got dropped in here. Um, my sister moved in here. Her stuff kind of got put in here. My parents used it as like a little storage. It was just full of stuff. As most people, I'm sure, have a closet or an attic or a basement just with boxes of things that are your things. You might even be aware of what they all are. I feel like most of us aren't, and that's where the cluttering comes in. You're just kind of collecting the stuff. And I've been back here since 2013, so it's been 6 years. So for 6 years, these boxes that I brought back, these were the things I used every day in my apartment, just kind of sat here. Of course, I picked through them over time. I pulled out DVDs I wanted, books I wanted to read, CDs maybe, things from my Xbox, just like things that I would use like more often. But the rest of the stuff just sat here. So what I did was, for years, I've been thinking about doing it, but I just never got around to doing it. And I'll talk about that too. About like, why wouldn't I just simply clear the room out? Why wouldn't I just simply get rid of things I'm not using, things I don't care about, and reutilize the things I could use, and any kind of like nostalgic knickknacks or shit like that, kind of find a place for them. I don't like the idea of things sitting in boxes collecting dust. I have boxes in here right now of things from high school and stuff like that. But you really can't, like, I don't want to make a display case of like my bronze medal from a wrestling tournament or like an old jacket I'm never going to wear. But it's okay, I guess, to keep some things. I have like every birthday card that I've ever gotten, probably from age, I want to say 15, but maybe earlier. And that's because even then I was like nostalgic for the now. It's very strange, and I think it's really connected to being a clutterer, a pack rat, a hoarder, whatever you want to call it. You're kind of like, you get a thing, someone hands you an object, and this is a perfect example. This was given to me by my niece a few years ago. It says number one uncle. She bought it. I don't know if she was in like pre-K or whatever, and there was like a Scholastic book fair, and you can like buy things. So I kept it, and what it was doing was sitting in a little bag that I kept in a backpack. So it's like in a bag that I kept with camera stuff that I really hadn't been using, and I put it in here so that when I need to write stuff down, I will use it because my niece gave it to me, and there was nostalgia there for me, and like it's, I don't know, I'm a human, and I guess we like the idea. It's not the gift itself; it's the thought behind the gift and that kind of stuff. And but when, I don't know if it is solely people with anxiety, but it definitely has something to do with mental illness. And if you ever watch the show Hoarders, these people are attached to like receipts and literally bags of poop and things that they just cannot, excuse me, part ways with. I didn't get to that level. However, they are very interconnected. And so as I'm going through all this stuff, I'm realizing, the kind of person that I am, whether it was strictly because of my anxiety that was developing as I was growing up, or whether it's just a human trait that I, expanded on and kind of like exploited, maybe, whatever it may be. I feel like being someone with anxiety, chronic, constant, general, whatever anxiety, definitely went hand in hand. And I noticed it growing up. And as I look back, getting older, you look back and you think, yeah, I remember getting things, whatever they may be. A video game that I had, for Christmases, I would I would you give your list to your parents, and then you get your Christmas gifts. And some you get, some you don't. My mom was notorious for like going rogue. And again, this comes from this. I mean, this episode. I don't want this episode to be 5 hours long, but so my mom's a kind of a person who she like wants to give a gift. My parents are like that. They want, to show affection and love through, especially around Christmas time or your birthday, like gifts. So she would go rogue, and she would get me the two games I wanted, or the one game, and also another one. And she would just kind of like, I guess, whatever like resonated with her, like this would he would like this, and I still have those games. I probably never play them because I didn't really want them or I don't really care about them. But now it's like I'm carrying around this object because of the thought behind it. And I started making the decision very recently in the last few months about, it's not about the object. Obviously, like, for continuing to use that as an example, my mom gave me a thing because she loves me and she cared about me and she wanted to give me something that I wanted, because we like giving gifts to other people, especially someone very close to us, like a son or a daughter or a mother or a father or a brother, whatever. And I couldn't like part ways with it. I haven't. I mean, I eventually will, or I'll just start playing it or something. Anyway, the point I'm making is, I started realizing that it's not the things, it's not the objects. Yes, there are some things you should keep. They're nostalgic, they are memories, pictures, things like that. But everything else that's just a literal mass that's taking up space, physical space in your physical life, you can just get rid of, because the clutter goes hand in hand with the anxiety. And this room was almost like this like room of anxiety, this room of not pain, but like failure. Like I would open this door and you would literally, where I'm sitting was stuff piled waist, shoulder high, and I would just look at this room and go like, "Ugh, one day I'll clean it out." And I couldn't figure out like, what was it, just laziness? Why wasn't I just decluttering the room, getting rid of stuff, doing, just emptying it out? And I felt like it was partly because it was like that part of anxiety that makes any task seem insurmountable, because before you even begin the task, you've already gone through all the steps, and it's just overwhelming. And you're like, I have to do this, and to get the result that I want, which is a clean room, all of this has to happen. I have to go through all this, and it takes all this time, and you know yourself. You're like, I'm going to stop at every box and look through everything, and that did happen. I did open boxes and get distracted a little bit, but I really Once you get past that distracting part of the act, the goal, I started burning through it. I started just taking everything out of here and separating it. And it didn't happen in a day because, and that's another part of it, it's patience. So I figured out things that I didn't need anymore, like all the utensils and stuff from my apartment, like that I'm not going to use here in this house, like a toaster oven, plates, dishes, containers, all the kitchen stuff. I went online. I found Big Brothers and Big Sisters. It's like they're a charity organization, and donated everything. So stuff I don't want, because I was a part of it, I kind of felt bad. Like I don't want to just throw it away. It like and this is definitely, I guess everyone has this, but with anxiety it's like 10 times worse. The idea that someone gave me this thing, it's just an object, it's a pen, and they had like this feeling behind, like, I got this for you, and now I take it and throw it in the garbage, and now it's floating in a bag somewhere in a truck. Now it's in a dump, and it's just kind of like sitting there, and it might like outlast me. The plastic will probably last longer than I'll be alive. So like I would actually think about like this thing that I don't know where it is. It would sort of like gnaw at me a little bit, and it's like this it's like a combination of like anxiety, obsessive compulsiveness, and like attachment, weird, crazy attachment, and just obsession, like this. I don't. It's a lot of different things. But as I did declutter and get through that, and I know I just kind of breezed past all that, but you have to sort of like figure out, is it serving me? Is it something that I'm going to use? Because I this thing kind of did kind of flounder around, and like I said, in a pouch that was in a bag that was sitting somewhere in my room. I'm making sure I'm using it, so I can use this. It stays. If I can't use it and it's useful, give it to someone who needs it, and you'll feel better. Sure, you'll have a little like separation anxiety over your whatever it is, your jar of stuff, but you will feel better. So I went through all these steps and these conclusions I came to in the process. And what happened was I cleaned this room out, and as the room was clearing out and things were coming out and going away, either to charities or in the garbage or in my house or in my room somewhere where they're useful, I felt a literal weight lifting up off my body. Not like a huge like PTSD, nothing like that was like really ruining my life, but it was like it was there was a weight. There definitely was a weight. And I would talk to my psychologist about it, and I was like, I don't understand it. And it was like this idea that there's like some underlying, and there's books out there. And I just took one out on the Libby app, so it's basically like the library on your phone, and it's like what your clutter is telling you. I think this is the title of the book. And you know what? Let me just tell you the exact title of the book right now. I borrowed it a few weeks ago, did not read it, and of course, I think the max you can keep a book on the Libby app, because you're technically borrowing it from the library, so there's a certain amount of licenses per book or audiobook, so you kind of have to give it away. So I'm just going to pull it up real quick. The book is called, of course my phone is extremely slow, I believe it's called like What the Clutter is Telling You About Your Life. And basically I was realizing like there were things that weren't serving me, get rid of them. Things that are useful to someone else that I don't want to use, get rid of them, give them away, so they're going to good use. You kind of feel better about it. And then as I started like getting to the floor, I actually started seeing the floor in this room. You're sweeping it up, you're cleaning, so you're active. You're actively doing something. You're up on your feet. You're actually doing something. You're creating a new open space, and that whole feng shui thing of like your outside world should reflect your inside world. There's a lot of truth to that. Now this cluttered room that was just full of just, I didn't know what it was, just boxes. So the box itself is a thing in my way mentally and physically, and there's a million things inside the box. So it was like overwhelming to even possibly contemplate all the stuff. Once I started getting rid of all that stuff, I started noticing like a sense of freedom. Like again, a weight lifted, feeling better about my physical surroundings, and the physical surroundings started like looking better. I started feeling better. So now I have this little office that I have a desk in. So I took the desk that was in my room, I pushed it in here, put it together, hooked my computer up in here. Now I have all my podcasting and vlogging stuff in here. I can sit here. It's almost like the computer's away from my bed. The desk is away from my bed. Now the room itself is opened up. I put a bookcase. I have not. Again, that's something I'll talk about in a minute. So I went and bought a bookcase because I got rid of a bunch of stuff, and now I have the things I took out of the room that I'm going to use, records and books and the DVDs and all that stuff. Instead of sitting in a box or just piling them up on a shelf, I'll organize them. I may never look at those books for months, but they're there where they kind of belong. And I can always just pick up a book and grab it, or a DVD and pop it in and watch it. I haven't bought books and DVDs in years because you don't really have to anymore. I'm cool with digital copies. If you're all about buying the paper books because you want to save, the digital copies could just go away or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the conspiracy theories behind books. I'm not going to live that long, so I'm not going to keep filling up my space with more things. I'm all about less things. And after doing this, after cleaning out just this closet and straightening out my room, and obviously, stuff goes out of the closet, stuff goes in. Now I move stuff into the closet. Now my room's open up. This room has purpose. It's like you are opening up parts of your mind. I mean, I know the mind is almost like a figurative. There's no actual nothing. Everything that's on the outside world is kind of happening inside your mind. Your mind is, you are your mind. But it was really like a weight and a tension, and just like all the objects that were in this room, even though I had no idea what they were kind of taking up space in my brain. So decluttering the life, your physical area, will make a huge difference. Jordan Peterson talks about having a clean room and making your bed, and however you feel about that guy, whatever. But there's been that, the Marines, all that kind of stuff. They do those little things, making your bed every morning. You think about it, these guys are trained to kill, defend themselves, and fight. Why are they making the bed? Because it makes a difference. It's almost like starting your day in a certain way. Now, I will say I do not make my bed every day. I didn't become a different person. I appreciate the fact that decluttering helps. And I just wanted to talk about that because I'm sure, and I know this is a huge assumption, but I'm sure a lot of people, if not most or all, who have especially anxiety, probably are like pigs in a way, you know, unorganized, sloppy, you know, the whole like theory of like a cluttered desk is a sign of a cluttered mind or a sign of intelligence. And there's always that meme online of like the picture of like Einstein's desk. And I don't like that we do that. We like sort of like make these like little like, oh, my mind is cluttered because I have a lot of thoughts and I'm super smart. I'm not saying that you're not, but in that picture of Einstein's desk, on the chalkboard behind him is like the theory of like relativity. So it's not like it's really hard. It's like really apples and oranges. So I personally feel that sure, if you're a astrophysicist working for NASA and you have a cluttered desk, maybe you can justify that. But anybody else, it's just like kind of like it's not just laziness, but there's underlying issues there. Like, why is your desk so cluttered? Are you just incapable of moving the things around? Do you just not care? Or is it because it's like all the little things amount to one big amount of tension, and that tension makes you feel like crap? And I'm just trying to restart my phone here. I'm sorry. And it the clutter that's outside your physical body is actually controlling the mental state in a way, and in a big way. So I wanted to talk about that today. This is all the things I'm talking about. I want to talk about how this affected me and how undoing it, even a little bit. I mean, this seemed to me this was like a big project. To a normal person who has no issue like cleaning out they're normally more tidy. It's no big deal. But for me, this was like huge. I mean, I surfed on this like high for like a couple of weeks after I cleaned this room out. And I would like every morning I'd wake up and like look in here. Like, this is awesome that I did this. It made me feel good. Of course, I have not yet reorganized the rest of my room and all the things I need to put in that bookcase, which I'll do a little bit later, probably on Sunday. It is a work in progress, but I do now understand the importance and appreciate the idea of decluttering and how decluttering your outside world will help declutter your inside world. I'm approaching like the 20-minute mark here. I don't want to go on and on and on forever, but I really hope that this makes sense to you. I wrote a blog about it at the time when I was doing it, and I'll put the link to my link tree is always in the description here, but I'll put the actual link just to the blog itself. If you don't want to check out any of my other things, you want to just read the blog that I wrote, you can read it. As soon as I get the title of the book, I'll probably put it in my description. My phone is, of course, acting now. I need it. It's not there for me to use. as Androids and iPhones and all smartphones do. Super smart until you actually need it, and then all of a sudden it's like, I can't. Too much stuff's going on. But I'll put the name of the book in the description of the video. So if you're watching this on YouTube, scroll down, subscribe, of course, but check out the book. I'm going to be reading it starting hopefully tonight. I say hopefully because I borrowed the book last time. I had it for 21 days, and I don't think I looked at it. And that's another thing. It's like this. That's part of like it's like the almost opposite end of the spectrum of clutter. We have so much at our fingertips that you almost kind of feel like, I don't have to, I don't have to get that knowledge right now. It's there forever. And maybe that's another video. We'll see. But I hope this helped. I hope you related. Talk to me in the comments. Let me know what you thought about if you related to it. What one of your experiences that you've had with clutter and just being, one of the other things I do is I live out of a hamper. Basically, I have 2 dressers, and they're full, but they can hold all my clothes. But what I do is I work for Safelite, as I've said, so I wear a uniform, so I don't have to like wear my regular clothes every day. I wear the red shirt and the black pants, my boots, etc. So what I do is I basically clean a bunch of clothes in the weekend, like whatever clothes I wore out at night or in the weekend, plus my uniform, and then I put them in through the wash. I wash them, I dry them, I put them in the hamper, and then I dump the hamper in the bed, take the clothes I need, put the rest of the clothes back into the hamper, and keep doing that until the hamper is empty and all the dirty clothes are on the floor, and then put the dirty clothes back in the hamper, and then repeat the cycle. I just don't fold the clothes and put them away like an actual adult. I'm not exactly sure why. Of course, the knee-jerk reactions like that's just being lazy and a slacker or whatever. But there's something else there. It's like I can't do it. I just or don't want. I don't know. But I do want to get to the bottom of it. Like, what's the hold up? Like, what is keeping me from just doing the simplest of things, like putting my underwear and socks away and not letting them crumple up into balls at the bottom of the hamper? I don't know. But this is all connected, and I've made a lot of progress by just finally getting my hands dirty, basically sinking my hands into this room and taking things apart, going through them, and deciphering what's for me to keep, what's garbage, and what needs to be, what's still useful, and who wants it, and what can I do about it. And I really feel like that process is great, and the outcome is amazing. And like I said, I still feel great. It's not like I don't feel good because I haven't like filled the bookcase, and like it's incremental. Another thing about anxiety is not beating yourself up about. I had the goal of cleaning this room out and turning it into this studio that I'm sitting in now, and I did that. And now I'm just progressively, I make a list. I have a whiteboard, and I write things down like I need a surge protector, and I need, whatever. And I see it, hopefully every day. I don't see it every day. I just kind of walk past it. But when I do see it, I go, if I did the thing, I just erase off the whiteboard. If I didn't, I'll circle it, maybe leave myself a note in the phone, and just do it. And they're simple things. Go to the vitamin store and get my vitamins. Buy whatever. Get a stand for my camera. Clean the room. Organize the bookshelf. I write those things down, or ideas I have, just so every day I wake up I see them, and it is helping. I mean, I've done that for a long time, but I just ignored that thing. I would keep the ink on that whiteboard until it almost didn't erase off. It was just crazy. So I hope this helped. I hope you guys can relate, understand what I'm saying. If it was confusing or you can't really, just let me know. Either way, give me some comments. Let me know what you thought. Of course, subscribe. And have a good day. Thank you for watching. Thank Anxiety. It's Friday. I'm an anxious man. Peace. I'm out.